Thank you very much. When Carolyn Boyd asked us to speak at this, she says this will be the Ant and Dec show. So I don't know whether I'm Ant or Kieran's Dec, but actually I've got the short straw because I'm actually going to be doing the presentation. So he's in the video. So I did my presentation during the week and I got this document and I read it last night. So it's absolutely fantastic document. And obviously it gives me a better understanding of why we're doing what we're doing, looking at this autumn campaign and hopefully a forthcoming spring campaign. Basically, the challenges for us was going back to the stats here. Only 3% of ROI visitors actually take a holiday to Northern Ireland. Stephen mentioned 7 out of 10 ROI visitors actually take a holiday to Ireland. So this is a great potential market on our doorstep. The challenge for us in Derry was how do we make Derry more compelling to the ROI consumers to drive preference to the city? You know, do they really know that Ireland's the only completely walled city? I'm not so sure. Do they know that we have the iconic Peace Bridge? Do we know that we have the best gastro bar in Ireland, which is the Walled City Brewery? Do they know that Dalata has a hotel in Derry? Do they know that we have Ian Orr, an award-winning chef? I'm not so sure. So we really need to give the ROI consumer reason to visit our city. Also, it mentioned in the document about poor value for money, the perception, but we know in our city that our hotels are offering really good value for money. Our short breaks start from around £89 for 2 nights B&B and a dinner. So we really need to get that message out to the consumer there. And the one thing for us is that a lot of our hotels in the city are all independent hotels. There's only maybe obviously the Malden from the Dalata Group and the Hastings, but apart from that, they're all independent hotels who obviously lack funding to really go out and sell their establishment in the ROI market. So we really needed to look collectively about how we can all bring our money together and resource this campaign. So it was actually Kieran O'Neill, who was obviously president of the Hotel Federation, said about getting everybody together and let's look at a collective campaign. Because I looked at the Independent Travel magazine last year and Da Vinci's had taken a half page, the White Horse had taken a half page, someone else. There was no consistency. And I know from Anna, my colleague Tanya, got some of her hotels together to make it more destination-led. So that was why we used this as our focus. So I want to tell you a bit about the case study. So really, the case study, to take you through yours, that's the background to the campaign, and obviously I want to talk now about the tactical activity. This is a really good example, as Rory said, about collective action. We have also hotel members outside of the city, such as the Roe Park Resort, the Portrush Atlantic, and we got 11 hotels participating who all actually put their application together to the Hotel Federation. Each of them applied for around 2,200, and we came up with a campaign of about £25,000. So it was really about trying to get the best resource and the best money in terms of promoting the destination. Because already, if you see in this slide, we actually did a spring campaign targeted at the Northern Ireland market during the springtime. It was a TV campaign, ad sales, digital marketing, and again, that worked really, really well as a collaborative project as well to really try and get more visitors from Northern Ireland to the city. So we actually got Genesis on board because basically they were delivered on the TANI campaign. It made sense to get this brand out there, and our campaign was about say hello to more, wall-to-wall enjoyment in Derry. For one of the first campaigns, I had to use the word Derry. There was no Derry or London Derry. It was what the ROI consumer knows the city and region as, and this was the look and feel of our campaign. There was 5 elements to the campaign. We didn't really go as much for the Dublin market because we believe for short break that Derry people want to take a short break. They don't want to travel 3.5 hours for 2 nights. They want to travel 2 to 2.5. So we focused on the Sligo Champion. We advertised in the Anglo-Cent, the Monaghan Standard, and therefore we got a readership of around 100,000 people. And again, it goes back to the stats that you used in the document, that 69 people, the 69% obviously go to Belfast, but obviously there's about 20% looking to go to Derry. So this is a great opportunity for us. So we obviously did advertorials in these key areas. The Irish Independent was one of the key media partners for TNI, and these, we took a half-page advert on 2 occasions in the Irish Independent. And again, this was to give them reasons to visit. It wasn't just about the 11 hotel offers, but it was also giving them some ideas to see and do what we're talking about today, like suggested itineraries. And the Irish Independent had a readership of 406,000, which gave us a great opportunity. There is no way that Visit Derry would have been able to do this. Not a chance, nor would our hotels, only apart from this co-op campaign. Then we took the homepage banner on the travel section of the Independent. We took it over 2 occasions, the 2nd to the 5th of November and the 13th to the 6th of November. This worked really well for us. In fact, there was a conversion of 0.14% in terms of our click-throughs, and the impressions was over 493. So these results were really good in that obviously a lot of people go on to the independent.ie to read the paper, they saw our advert and they clicked on to see, and that went through to Discover Northern Ireland. That worked really well for us. And then just 2 weeks after that, the Independent brought their film crew up to the city. They did a feature on Belfast and they produced a new video on Derry. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a 2.5-minute video of the city. It showcased like the suggested itinerary. It wasn't about the hotels. It was about what there is to see and do. And also as part of that there, they actually did a feature on the city, the Wall City in Revival, which had a 4-page feature, and it featured Bishopsgate, it featured the Wall City Brewery, it featured the Museum of Free Derry, Brickworks Restaurant, and it was a fantastic feature. So if I was coming to Derry and staying in Bishopsgate or any of the hotels, what can I see and do? And again, we did not have to pay for that. It was a fantastic opportunity for them to come and to video the city, and it means we can use that video on our website and for other platforms as well. Now, about 8 years ago, when we did have funding, we used to bring 2FM Roadcaster to the city. Fiona Cunningham and I would have worked on it many years ago, and I thought, let's get them back to the city. So they did a live broadcast on the 21st of November. We actually did this campaign, by the way, starting on the 2nd of November, straight after the Halloween festival, which is, in Derry, is Ireland's largest Halloween festival and one of the best in the world. So we were building on that momentum and the buzz about after Halloween. So we brought the show to the city. What we did was really looked after the crew so well. They came up for the night. We brought them out for dinner. The next morning, we took them on a tour of the walls. We stopped into one of the hotels for scones and coffee. We really looked after them. We brought their dinner. They broadcasted outside the Guildhall Square. And it was amazing because the girl, Tracy, the presenter, had never been to the city before. And really, we wanted to get across to her about the legendary welcome. And because this was a hotelier campaign, I'd asked the hotels to come down and say hello to Tracy and the crew, and people came down with cups of coffee for them. The Hastings manager, Neil, came over with the Hastings Christmas duck and umbrellas for them, and really to make them feel welcome, that we really wanted them here in the city, because those production team are actually potential customers for us. And I wanted Tracy to really illustrate that, and Visit Derry was also interviewed on the programme. Also, to enhance this, I asked them, could we get all the hotels to give a weekend break, a competition every day, pre the broadcast and afterwards, and they agreed to that. So it was 127,000 daily listeners, but we obviously got 11 times that exposure. So that was absolutely phenomenal. And I would certainly love to have them back 2 or 3 times a year. And hopefully maybe with the spring campaign, we'll look about bringing them back to the City of Derry Jazz Festival, because even sitting in the office and listening to it, it was wonderful. But the one thing about it, when we did the final big competition of the day, and people were ringing them, they said, "Have you been to Derry before?" A lot of them said, "No, we've never, but I'd love to go." So that was really, really good publicity, and that's what we need to do to get these people to listen, to hear the reasons to come to the city, and to get them back again. In terms of our results for the campaign, I'm delighted to say that our room sales in Derry has increased by 21% from the RY market. It is now 11% market share. But also we have moved so much in the international market, as 68% of our visitors, our room nights, are out of state. We've come a long way in the city. We know we've done a great job with tour operators and international, but we want to see more visitors from the Republic of Ireland coming to the city for a midweek and a weekend break. Some of the results, Bishopsgate saw an increase of 24% in the month of November as a result of the campaign, and 17% respectively in December. Our tourist information figures, actually, when I asked what the figures were for November, had increased by 142%. So that was really, really encouraging. So we want to see this market grow even further and further. This was a great example of collaboration. It was about partnership. It was about getting all the hotels together, and it was their campaign, and we'd like to move that forward. And this was about just some of the testimonials from some of our participating hotels who thought that it was an excellent opportunity to jointly target the ROI market. As a region, we've really the opportunity to engage in this, and it was a great collective campaign. Sinead from the Rural Parks thought that, again, it was a great collective campaign, very much focused marketing. And the White Horse Hotel, again, the whole partnership, working with Genesis, working with TNI and the Hotel Federation, really come to the fore. So basically, each hotel, for their funding for £600, they got a lot of mileage from this campaign. It was a fantastic opportunity, and one that we would love to do again. So in conclusion, can I thank Tourism NI, the Hotel Federation, and obviously the Derry Hotels for delivering this campaign. But I suppose the learning curve moving forward, the key things that I would probably want to highlight is that collectively we need to build on the momentum of this campaign for moving it forward, especially for springtime. We need to really sit down now and assess what worked for each of the hotels and what didn't in terms of devising a new plan. I'm delighted from some of the stats there today that 39% are interested in visiting Derry. Our challenge is we need to convert that now. We'd like to get more bloggers, more media, more journalists, more film crews coming to Derry on fam trips. We had nationwide in 2013 for the Foyle Maritime Museum. And every time we go to Bloom or Holiday World Dublin, that's the one show that they say, we saw fantastic pictures of Derry on Nationwide years ago, because that's the one that loads of people watch in the ROI market. So let's get them up again for another event. We need all of our hotels to offer 2-night packages with something free and an incentive. Some of the hotels did a 1-night package. That's not good enough. If you want ROI visitors coming up to spend money in the city and region in your hotel, you need a 2-night package. We also need to target the ROI group organisers and the active retirement groups as well. And the Derry Girls, how many people are watching it? Well, it has 1.6 million viewers, and we're going to be doing a new TV campaign in the interval next Thursday night, which is targeted at the NOI ROI market. So the programme's brilliant. It's showing what Derry went through in the 1980s, but now we're going to say, look what Derry looks like now. So it's a fantastic new destination ad, which will be starting next Thursday. We need to be more creative in attracting more visitors to Derry. And together we hope that we will be able to ultimately achieve the target for all of us working in tourism of 140 million by 2025. And finally, as I work in sales, I hope you will all come to Derry for a short break. And I'm sure you have all ROI visitors and relatives, so click on to visitderry.com and you'll have wonderful value for offers. Thank you.